Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a moment, I am gonna walk my happy butt over to the futon to check out the new VOD film, Lost Horizon. Lost Horizon is directed by Patrick Garcia, and it comes to us all the way from South Africa. Now, I tried to find the correct pronunciations for the actors' names who were in this film, and I just couldn't find it. And the ones I did find, I just couldn't get right. So I'm not going to try to pronounce the actors' names that are in this movie and insult anybody, okay? So this film tells the story of a soldier for hire who likes to go into areas that have problems and they need saving. He's a hero for hire, basically. And this looks like it's going to be a good old throwback to the 80s, maybe 90s action films, lots of practical effects, hopefully just an insanely terrible, evil villain. Not one of these idiotic, sympathetic villains that we keep getting these days, but a real evil, dirty villain that's just going to make us wait for him to be taken out at the end of the movie. That's the kind of guy that I'm looking for. And of course, our truth, justice, and, well, the South African way kind of hero that's going to be in this movie. This was a screener that was sent to me a little while back, and this movie is just about to come off embargo. It's here in the United States as a VOD film, which is released December 2nd, but I believe in South Africa and other parts of the world, this was a theatrically released film. But here in the States, we're going to have to watch it at home on VOD. And to be perfectly honest, I really like that, because it kind of takes me back to the good old days of the direct-to-video or direct-to-DVD movie. You would be at the video store kind of looking around, and you'd see these movies that you'd never heard of before, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on that. And there were some really good movies that came out of those days, The Boondock Saints being one of them. But you know what, guys, it is enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbering on, because as always, my faithful movie companion Haku is patiently waiting for me amongst all of our Christmas decorations so that he can watch Lost Horizon. So enough of the jibber-jabber, it's time for me to get over there and check out Lost Horizon. Just getting done watching Lost Horizon, and guys, I had a lot of fun with this movie. Now, before we get things started, I would like to state that this is not a remake of the 1937 film Lost Horizon. This is its own thing. That's purely a coincidence. I know all the big fans of Lost Horizon from 1937 are really happy to hear this. So let's get this party started, shall we? Now, normally I do negatives and positives, but in a movie like this, the negatives are kind of the positives. Let me explain. Now, this film is an absolute perfect midnight movie cult film. If I was 13-year-old me scrolling through cable trying to find something and I saw this film on USA Up All Night at 3 o'clock in the morning, by the time this movie was over, I would have thought I had just finished watching Citizen Kane. This movie has so many great, just absolutely amazing, completely unaware comedic moments, completely unintentional moments in this film that just downright killed me. This isn't necessarily a so bad it's good movie, but it damn near comes close. There are some really great moments that I'll get into that I did really enjoy in this movie, but then there is just some absolutely, just downright unintentionally, amazingly hilarious moments. One of the first things that really lead to some of this stuff is the acting in this movie. Now, while there are some perfectly fine and acceptable performances in this movie, there are some really, well, let's just say some flat line delivery, and I'm not one to sit here and nitpick a person's acting performance. I myself am not a professional actor. Now, not to toot my own horn, I've had a pretty decent past with the acting in the old theater. I mean, I did win Best Supporting Actor for my performance of Mr. Mushnick in Little Shop of Horrors when I was in college, so I know a little something about the art form. a little something. But in this movie, let's just say that there is some inexperienced acting in this film. I think that's the nicest way of saying it. And some of that inexperienced acting really leads to some very unintentionally funny moments. And there's also a completely out of nowhere second act, which is its own completely different story. It is its own thing that's in this movie. So when you watch this movie, you are not just getting one story, you are getting two completely different stories. Let me tell you how this breaks down. Okay, so our main character and his two partners, Mike and his two guys, I'm sorry, their names just didn't stick with me. So Mike and his two guys are going into an area that was or did have a civil war. There are still some rebel forces that are out there causing trouble and everything. Then he's going in there to build a dam. So he's going, and then all of this crazy stuff starts happening with these rebel forces. Now, while that's going on, he just so happens to come across this reporter. And this reporter and him spark up this extremely quick relationship. This leads to her going into a war zone with them, and she gets shot. So she has to go see the doctor. And let's just say that where this story goes is just wackadoodle territory, okay? You are not gonna really expect where this story goes with this love interest of Mike's and this doctor. I'm gonna leave it at that because I want this movie to have some surprises, but it takes up the entire second act of the film, so you really think that this is going to be something important for the entire movie, and all it really does is lead to some more events that were brought up at the beginning of the movie. So it's just like you have this completely separate story in the middle of the movie for no other reason except to connect it some way, shape, or form to what was going on at the beginning of the film. So then we get back into just more of a typical action thriller type of territory. We're focused back on this dam and trying to build the dam and these rebel forces that are out in the woods and all. And I don't know if some of the things that I'm about to throw into the negatives might be found when you actually rent this movie on a VOD service, because I was sent a screener. So maybe some of the technical issues that I'm talking about, maybe that was just because I was watching a screener. So maybe some things just weren't finished just yet. But there was definitely some special effects that kind of looked a little bit wonky. Now, there is some pretty good moments of gore and some pretty good looking makeup and practical effects in this movie. And then there's some stuff that just does not look very good at all. And at the beginning of the movie, I honestly thought that maybe they were going for a PG-13 rating because there was a lot of gunfire and no blood. And then there were moments where they had some squib effects. And so what I was kind of wondering if maybe I got sent a screener that wasn't quite touched up yet with some CGI and all, because there are moments that I could tell that there was probably supposed to be some kind of CGI blood or something like that, and it just wasn't there. So I don't know if that was something that was missed or not, or if it's just the copy that I had. And also there's the moments of the sound design too, where the sound in the background, especially the special effects, they sound really quiet, and again, it really leads into that unintentionally funny moment, because it's just like sound effects would just die off, and then you were just kind of left with the guys like trying to do like a boxing match, and they're just kind of like going but there's no like really sounds of any of these punches connecting, just sounds that these two guys are grunting back and forth. The music is also kind of spotty too. There is a soundtrack into this film, but it kind of fades in and fades out. But all in all, this film is very enjoyable and highly entertaining. It does get a little bit draggy, but there's enough out of nowhere weirdness in this movie to keep you wondering what's going to happen next. The movie's story is kind of all over the place. As I said, we have a lot of different things going on. The bad guys, the villains of our story, let's just say that they do a pretty good job of covering everybody. There's all sorts of bad guys in this movie, and I don't want to give away how many or what the different types are, because again, it does lead into some of the real fun that this movie has. Now, in the positive and the non-ironic positive, okay, there was some really good action sequences in this film. You can definitely tell that they put a lot of work into the choreography and some of the gunfighting sequences. There is some really good practical effects and some good makeup in this movie, and some great moments of gore also. Yeah, there are some really bloody moments in this, and one moment in particular, I really wish they wouldn't have pulled away from this shot, because they had a doozy, good old slasher Jason Voorhees kill that I honestly thought they were going to show on camera, and at the last moment they pulled away, and I was grr. But all in all, guys, I thought this movie was a lot of fun. Sure, maybe it's not the world's greatest movie, maybe it has its problems, maybe it falls flat in some areas, and it gets a little bit draggy, but the film itself comes in at just an hour and a half. All in all, I would say that if you're spending $3.99 to watch something, and you are an absolute fan of the So Bad It's Good movie, even though I still think that this movie had a lot of really cool moments that keeps it out of the So Bad It's Good, but I will say that there are some ironically funny moments in this movie, and there are some really just great moments in all. This is worth the $2.99, $3.99 rental fee if you see it, if you are a fan of cheesy, silly action films. You are going to find a lot here. If you're someone who likes something more serious, like the John Wick movies and all, not your movie, let's just say that. But if you're someone who likes to sit down and watch the videos on like a channel like Good Bad Flicks, you're going to have a lot of fun with this movie. If you're someone who loves those B-rate, cheesy action films of the 80s and 90s, you're going to have a lot of fun with this movie. American Ninja, that's a good example of how much fun you're going to have with this movie. Well, all right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.